Activity H3 of Unit Standard 15221 ask us to explain the financial distribution of grants and levies. What a big topic, but also extremely important and interesting. Now, everyone always asks me, how do you claim back money from the SETA? Sorry for you, but you can't claim money back from the SETA. It's just one of those ways. If you haven't done an ASTF course, then you won't understand that. So let's go and look at how this whole thing works. Now, first of all, if your salary bill is over R500,000 or more, then you must pay 1% of that to SARS, and then SARS will then pay it over to the SETA, the specific SETA. Now, a lot of people say I can't claim money back because I haven't paid anything to the SETA. It's because your accountant do everything with your tax submission. They calculated, they paid over to SARS and the SETA. The SARS paid over to the SETA. And your SETA was selected. When I registered your company, they picked, or the person who registered the company picked the sector. And it's possible to change from one SETA to another SETA. The requirement is just that you must do it every year before the WSP ATR submission. So that's in about January, February. You can change from one SETA to another one. So the money has been paid over now to the actual SETA. On this slide is going to tell us before Blyden Simande's famous case of the NKF Act and Skills Development Act in 2013, December, if I recall, it was the 13th of December. So the first slide is to show how was it before. Now on the left top, we have the NSA fund. Everyone knows the NSA fund. You can also Google it. They get 20% from the skills levy. So say, for example, 1 million rand has been paid by this company. Then about 200,000 rand will be distributed to the National Skills Fund. And plus minus about 10% of that will go to the SETAs, for the offices and the car rentals and the internet and all that equipment and stuff that they use. Plus minus about 10% to the SETAs. And then at the left bottom, we get the mandatory grant, and the right-hand side, we get the discretionary grant. People always tell me that grant thing, it's not a grant thing. There is two grants. It's mandatory and discretionary. So mandatory used to get 50%. So if this company, for example, paid R1 million, about R500,000, 500,000 would go into the mandatory and about 200,000 into the discretionary. Now, mandatory grant, basically what the SETA do is, they say that the company must implement training. So they go back to the company, they say, how much training did you implement the last year that you actually did? And they also look at you implemented enough, and they say, okay, at the end of the year, you've done enough training, so we're going to give you back, not claim back, give you back half of what you paid in. That was mandatory grant. And then on the discretionary grant, whatever doesn't use from the SETA or mandatory grant, whatever is not used will also go to the discretionary grant. So discretionary grant likes to grow. So the discretionary grant, the SETAs was then able to use that money on projects wherever they wanted. That was totally dependent on the SETAs. You used to see tender adverts in the newspapers, and SETAs always advertising for grants and special projects, and SETAs companies could apply for special funding through the SETAs. Then in 2013, Minister Blyden Simande changed the law. There's a couple of politics also in there. Some cases, they had appeal that he also lost. This was supposed to change, but they've never changed it back. So now let's go and look what was after December 2013, and that's still currently, at the time of this video, it's still active. So on the left top, you got the NSA fund and the SETAs. They're still the same. He changed the date of reporting from June to April. That's in the top middle there. So it's a bit of a big problem because April month has got the most public holidays in the entire calendar year. So that is a very difficult month to do reporting for us. On the left bottom side, we see that mandatory grant currently is removed from, or reduced from 50% to 20%. So companies can only claim 20 or get 20% back of what they paid in for training that they've done. It's a huge knock, a huge knock for training companies. And after this, you can see that most of the training companies' internal training departments actually closed down because it's not feasible for them. Also, what they said is they exclude mandatory training like first aid. So if there's an act or a law that say you must do a specific course, like first aid, safety rep and those type of thing, then you can't put that training on your stats anymore. So that we left out because there's a lot of mandatory training that must happen every single year. On the right hand side, we have discretionary grants. Now, discretionary grants, we can see that increased to 50%. So the SETA's got more play to play there with. But again, they changed it there and they said that most of that must be, most of that money must, there's employers who pay it over. And they say bulk of that money must now go to FET colleges and universities, not the employers. So, yeah, there's a lot of funding that went to the colleges and the universities from that. Um, and basically, what we're saying and directly to the employees and the companies, you're not that important anymore. We would rather invest, in the youth that a lot of us have different feelings on. Then we also see there they said you can only sponsor scarce skills and not critical skills. Now the difference between scarce skills and critical skills is scarce skills is something, it's like a job title, a job that you can't fill, full qualification. That's a scarce skill. Critical skills I always call something like a top up skill. I need customer service or Excel training. So they say no more short courses. Accredited short courses is all to fill a job title like learnerships, apprenticeships, and those kind of things. And then also pivotal programs only. So so this year if we offer or they give a company a sponsorship on an NKF2 learnership, next year they're only allowed to get 3, and a year only after that 4, and only the third year they can get again 2. Because they say we all teach people to get to a supervisor's level, but we don't take them further. So in a nutshell, that is how the SETA's distribution is working. I've also saved this presentation in the TrainYouCan shared Dropbox folder that you can look at it if you want to.